All right, joining me once again here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show is my good friend Robin Marty. Robin is a journalist whose work has appeared in Rolling Stone, Politico, and many more. She is the co-author of the book Crow After Row. You can follow her on Twitter at Robin Marty. Robin, thank you so much for being on the show again.
Thanks for having me again, Matt.
All right, so Robin, we talk about all types of aspects of the war on women when you come on the show. One area that's really frightening, and it's sort of like I think kind of a bellwether of where things currently are in some states and where they could go in other states, is actually investigating miscarriages. Just lay it down, the whole crazy concept of kind of anti-abortion movement trying to actually investigate miscarriages.
Well, one of the things that abortion rights activists have seen all throughout when we've been trying to battle these bills going into law is the fact that we constantly say, if these bills become law, if abortion stops being accessible, what's inevitably going to happen is that people are going to start investigating miscarriage. And every time we say this, we're told that we are making things up. It turns out, of course, we're not making things up. And we've seen a bunch of these just popping up even very recently. Within the last week, we literally have seen 2 different miscarriages that were investigated in 2 different states. So the first that we have was a story in Texas where a high school literally had a SWAT team brought in. Helicopters came in, police came in, because somebody found a fetus in a bathroom. Depending on which report, one said it was in the toilet, one said that it was in a trash can. But the point is, there was a fetus found that was deceased, and they weren't entirely sure if it was a student, if it was a teacher, if it was a miscarriage, what was going on. So their decision was to bring the police in. This is disturbing for a lot of reasons. And the first reason is that you don't know if it's a miscarriage. You don't know what has happened. And the idea that the police came in because they could not figure out who basically the student or teacher was that this fetus belonged to. So they brought in somebody to investigate and find out who was the pregnant person in this case who did not properly give birth to a live baby. The reason that this is very disturbing is because we saw a case that happened a year ago, but that the charges have just released earlier. Actually, it was at the end of August. Her name is Purvi Patel, and she is in Indiana, and she's being charged with feticide. Patel is being charged with feticide after going into an Indiana hospital with bleeding. The doctors asked her what was going on, and she did not say that she had just given birth. Eventually, the doctors said, you have obviously given birth. You obviously had some sort of miscarriage. And she admitted that she did have a stillbirth, that she wasn't sure what to do. So she wrapped the baby up and she put the baby in a dumpster. And then she went to the hospital because she was still bleeding so much that she thought her life was in danger. Doctors questioned her repeatedly in order to find out where that fetus was. Doctors literally stated in the arrest report that they were worried that that baby was still out there somewhere struggling, and that's why they had to find out. Imagine you just gave birth, you have a stillbirth, and you are being badgered by the hospital that you went to for care to find out where did that baby go? Where is that baby? Police coming in to find that baby. The whole time, all you are worried about is that something is going to happen to you, and you avoided the hospital, particularly because you were afraid that police were going to come after you. So here you have a situation where they investigated a miscarriage from somebody who had shown up in the hospital saying that she had a miscarriage, she had a stillbirth. And they investigated that, and now they're charging her with feticide, which could be up to 10 years in prison. So then you take that and you go and look at this case in Texas where they find a fetus and they're saying, we just want to find whoever it was who gave birth so that we can make sure that this person is okay. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure that they can figure out who this was so that they can find out if there was anything illegal that might have happened. They said that they wanted to know if it was a student because if so, they wanted to inform the student's parents. If that student did not want to inform their parents, why is that the police's job to do? If that student needed medical assistance, would they have gone and gotten medical assistance? If they see police coming, is that going to frighten them out of getting medical assistance if they need it? They are investigating miscarriages, and women and girls' lives will be in danger because of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you mentioned that in Texas there was a SWAT team. Like, what on earth? Like that's supposed to actually comfort them, and actually seeing a SWAT team come in, it's like, oh yeah, this seems like a perfectly smart and safe thing for me to do as a woman, is to actually come forward here when there's a SWAT team here.
Well, and the worst part is it took them over 24 hours to identify who the student was, and in the end, it turns out that it was likely a student, and that it was in fact a miscarriage. But, I mean, this is a person who has already gone through an enormously emotional and physically painful process of having a miscarriage. And now, everywhere she went, she saw police that were coming into the school. She saw news articles with people searching to figure out who she was. So you already have this emotionally horrifying thing happen to you. And then to know that it's national news and everybody's looking for you, that, I mean, how is that compassionate care in any way, shape, or form?